Next up is a group who are raising awareness of child abuse in their region. Violence Free Waitakere Incorporated are coming to tell us how they are promoting zero tolerance to violence. They are representing the Waitakere district.
Tēnā koutou katoa, talofa lava, good afternoon everyone. It is my very great pleasure as an elected member of the Auckland Council on the Waitakere Ranges local board. It's a little more complicated in Auckland these days, as you've probably heard. It is really a great pleasure to be here. And at our Waitakere final for the TrustPower Awards last year, when our winner was announced, there was a huge round of applause. Because with me today is a very popular group of people, Violence Free Waitakere, represented here today by Elaine and Tongia. And when you hear their story, I'm sure that you will understand the wonderful influence and effect that they have had in preventing violence in our community and also become known outside, beyond, across Auckland for their work in preventing violence. Elaine.
Thank you, Judy. So it's not a small thing to address the issues about violence. We are really aware that in Waitakere, in 2007 to 2008, 9 even, we were 50% higher than the national rate of children who were found to be being abused or neglected by Child, Youth and Family. And there are a lot of agencies working in Waitakere. We're a big city, but most of them were focusing in on service delivery. And back in 1998, we were asked to begin and focus totally on preventing violence. So we don't do any service delivery. We're trying to get in ahead of the issue and see if we can make a difference to the way that the city works. How many of you have seen Outrageous Fortune? So some of you might know about Outrageous Fortune. And it's a kind of a typical Westie family. And I want to tell you a little bit about another Westie family that's a little bit like them. They live in Massey. They live in a community that was built of houses created by speculators and jammed into a little cul-de-sac, all lots of bedrooms, and then they handed them over to Housing Corporation. And so a whole lot of high-need families live in this little tiny street. A whole lot of agencies deal with the problems. We had the police, we had addictions, we had education, we had social welfare, we had everybody really concerned, health, about what was going on in that area. And so at a meeting of around about 25 different agencies, I was the one who put up my hand and said, what's the street actually think about the problems? Oh, haven't thought about actually talking with them, we'd talk about them. And so myself and another member from the Massey Matters went in and we had a conversation with this family and all of the other families in the street about how they saw the problems. And what it ended up being was that they reckoned that the teenagers were the big problem. That the teenagers were getting stoned and drunk on the weekend, they were terrorising the little kids, and the parents felt really out of control around those kids. And so their solution was, well, let's clean up the street because it is a bit of a dump at the moment, even though they're lovely new houses, tagging and rubbish and everything was accumulating. And they had a street barbecue. And that family started to feel better about where they lived and the kinds of things that were happening in their neighbourhood. Now, Mum walked around the community and she saw some billboards. She saw quite a lot of billboards, and they'd been on TV as well about the It's Not OK campaign, and that wasn't our work. But the one that really got to her was this one here that was local kids with the mayor and saying violence against children is never okay or it's not okay. And she felt pretty guilty because actually she did hit her kids. And there was quite a lot of arguing and hassles going on in the family. And we know that when children are exposed to arguing going around them, that it creates a tension inside them as well. The trouble was she didn't know what else she could do about it, because that was the way she'd been brought up. She'd been hit and yelled at as well. And so she was thinking, well, what am I going to do? And she noticed some signs around the streets, and you've got some on your tables saying about the Toddler Day Out and Great Parenting Fair, and it was this free event that was going to be held at the stadium, and she thought, well, let's go along to that. And so the family ended up going because it was totally free. And she talked with some of the agencies that are up the side there. They had, there were 45 different agencies concerned with supporting parents. She didn't even know there were that many people who cared about parents in the community. Dad had a massage with the healers up there. There were a group of people helping people unwind their backs or teaching about holistic health. Little Sarah, she played in the middle here in the interactive area where there are a whole lot of early childhood education teachers with activities from painting to modelling and doing things like that, that the kids just had a great time, and Mum and Dad could see how clever their wee girl was. And the bigger kids, they played mostly around on the bouncy castles and the free stuff that was outside as well. But everyone had a really great day, and they thought, well, let's do something about it. And Mum picked up a thing about a parenting course, and she went to a parenting course and learned ways that she could help her children grow up without having to be smacking them all of the time. A little bit later, they picked up another poster, and it said, the Westie Dads in Action photographic competition. And this was a thing where people were encouraged to send in photos of dads doing cool things with their kids, because we know that role models that are positive make a difference in our community. And so she sent in this really cute one of Dad and Sarah when they were playing after she had a bath one night, and they were laughing away, and it went into the display that was around the malls and the community centres and everything, and people came along and they voted on it, and they voted for their favourite things. And well, she didn't actually win the prize, but she did get a prize for being part of it, and people said, hey, I saw your picture. And the one that won it was a real dag, honestly. Here's this guy in his boxer shorts, baby sound asleep on his front, ironing his own shirt. And she thought, oh, I need a husband like that can help me a bit more too. And at the launch of the event, there was some really significant people saying about the importance of being a dad and how hard that could be, and how hard it can be sometimes to say, I'm going to change the way I bring up my kids, but I'm not going to teach them violence in the way that I'm punishing them. And then Joe, at school, was in a classroom where his teacher started teaching Violence Free Begins With Me schools program that Violence Free had trained the teachers to run. And one of the really neat things that they learned was putting their hands out and counting, oh my goodness, 5 people who could help them to, if there was ever any danger. And he even became the voice in one of the animated cartoons. And then the next cool thing was that the family went in the community treasure hunt. And sorry, I thought I had a little bit longer. That is happening today when we're away, but 58 teams from Massey came, learned about the community and the services that were available to them. And Tongia. Sorry.
Kia ora te whānau. As a volunteer for Violence Free Waitakere, I believe in the vision of a Waitakere free from violence. The events that Violence Free run are free entertainment for our whānaus, but it also offers agencies a chance to engage our people. So if the kids are having fun, mum and dad, uncle, auntie and grandparents are more open to engage. So as a volunteer, it's all about giving back to our community, serving our people. We're not just volunteers, we're, I suppose you could say, agents of social change. Kia ora.
And from being 50% higher, we are now 17% lower than the national rate on from child, youth and family figures. So we feel really proud of what we've managed to achieve for the sake of our children and our future. Thank you.